Scott Lee Scott.
I'm Jay Pops Kogar. What's up?
Each and every week we bring you Florida Man stories. It's all Florida Man all the time.
Yes.
And we're doing it live from High Tides, 2413 Southwest 13th Street here in Gainesville.
Check it out.
First person to come by and say they heard it on Florida Man gets a special giveaway.
If you go into any of the Florida Idiots podcast, add anything
And hit subscribe.
and just put a little note on there the day that you did it. There you go.
We got the hookup for you.
Got a trait for you.
I mean, it could be anything, really.
It would. It totally would.
What if you were just stuck talking in a British accent? I
Oh.
wouldn't do the show with you anymore.
I wish. Like, yeah, why not? Like,
It's actually not a bad British accent.
Thank you.
I think we're gonna. No, we're
No,
good.
we're
Okay,
good.
we'll keep
Okay.
going. Our
We'll
producer
keep
is telling us to wrap it up. All right, so here on the Florida Man Floridiots podcast, you can follow us at the Floridiots on all social media
Yep.
sites.
Make
That's
sure it's
at
the Floridiots podcast. Yes.
That's right. But I thought I'd open the show today with Florida man Dan Ballman. I'm going to give his whole name because this guy's a reckless asshole. Enters a Florida school maskless. So
This week?
Yep. So
Wow.
I guess this guy thought he was sort of like the Little Rock 9 of 2021, right? Like these people think that they're doing this like social justice deal where the law is wrong, so as long as I violate it, then I'm doing some sort of civil disobedience. But
Well, it's my First Amendment rights for my snake to tread on your snake.
right, I mean, as long as it's not civil disobedience if you're infecting other people.
No.
You know, that's not.
You're just a jerk. You're just like a biological weapon. Then.
Yeah, you're a germ jerk.
Yeah.
Right.
Germ jerk.
That's right.
Germ Nazi.
So this guy, not only did he go into the school maskless as sort of like a protest, but then when they tried to make him leave, he fought people.
Oh,
So,
wow.
Yeah.
Great dad. Great dad.
Yeah. So can you imagine that guy's kid is probably just like, oh my god,
My
it's
dad
so
got beat up
embarrassing.
by the security guards at school today.
You know what's funny is that these people that their brains are being mutated by the water in Florida or whatever's down here, the humidity, the heat, and then Fox News.
The mercury in the fish.
Their kids are going to grow up to be the exact opposite.
Yeah.
You know, because think about like in the 50s and 60s, you had like real conservative, nuclear parents, and then what happened? You had the hippie generation.
Yep.
The 80s,
There's
you
always
had
a swing back.
right. The 80s, you had like Wall Street parents,
Almost
and you
a
had punk
conservative
rockers,
thing, yeah.
right?
Yeah,
So with all this QAnon and mask stuff, we're gonna have like a generation of some really healthy kids
Some
coming up.
yin yang of crazy stuff going on there is what that is. So.
But with all the mask debate and
Yeah.
vaccine stuff that's going on, it made me think, like, here in Florida, when my friends have come to visit from California or Oregon or D.C. over the last year or so, they're just astounded at what we have going on here in Florida because I'm like, hey, you want to go out and get something to eat? And they're like, where?
Yeah.
And I'm like, at a restaurant. And they're like, oh, my God, your restaurants are opening? It's so embarrassing.
Yeah.
But we went through this thing of, like, should we do the mask? Should we do the, waiting for the vaccine and stuff? And then the vaccine came out and we all thought that we would like get over the hump, right?
Yeah.
And everybody kind of had COVID fatigue, if you will.
Yeah.
They got tired of hearing it on the news. They got tired of like having to put I forgot my mask and I got to go into the store.
Yeah.
The whole thing. It's understandable, right?
Mm-hmm.
So our governor here, DeSantis, leaned into it. And was just like, yeah, no masks. You don't have to wear them. It's against, he started this mask ban where you can't, these schools here in Florida cannot even ask parents to have their kids wear a mask.
Yep.
So you've got kids here in the ICU.
Yes, you
It's
do.
ridiculous. But
Getting a little out of hand, folks. Let's kind of figure this out quickly, shall we?
what's happening now is we're not done with the pandemic and we're not done having everybody vaccinated. And now we've got a new variant, but things are opening back up because 7 or 8 months ago when the vaccine came out, people went, oh, you know what, by such and such date we should reach the herd immunity, so I'll go ahead and plan this festival, I'll go ahead and plan this thing that I had canceled previously. And I was just thinking about all the stuff in Florida that's exclusive to Florida events that are about to happen. So when I say Florida event,
these are very particular to a certain section of the state.
Coachella would be California,
right?
So what's a Florida thing? Like something that like maybe you wouldn't go to. Maybe it's hokey or touristy, but it definitely has Florida smacked all over it.
The whatever that thing is in Tampa, the pirate thing. That they do.
Gasparilla.
Gasparilla.
Yeah.
Never been to one. Never have been interested in going to one.
It's
Been
fun.
to every club in Tampa, but never to Gasparilla.
My dad actually has run the Gasparilla race several times.
Oh, no
Yeah,
kidding.
they have like a run to kick
Yeah,
off the whole
yeah,
thing,
yeah.
but it's a parade, and then pirates attack Tampa or St. Pete or whatever it
And
is.
there's beads and boobs and stuff, and like just
Beads and boobs is my handle on Grindr, by the way.
swashbuckling beads and boobs. I'm not saying where the beads go.
It's funny because these events are grand in scope,
Yeah.
huge scale events,
Yep.
and I'm sure there's fun to be had. I've been to things like that. I didn't go to Gasparilla, but I've been to some of these festivals, but the locals hate it.
Yeah.
Even though a lot of their economy is built on that, they cannot stand it.
All right, Mark. Tweet.
Yeah, so the locals hate these things, even
Right.
though their economy is completely built on it. But
Yeah.
I think in some instances, these festivals work for
Yeah.
the local community. And I think one of those is Fantasy Fest.
Yeah, most definitely.
Fantasy Fest down in Key West started in 1979 by locals to bring people to this sleepy little town. And, you know,
Right.
Duval Street is basically Florida's Bourbon Street.
Yeah.
And I've been down to Fantasy. Have you been to Fantasy Fest?
No.
I've done it before, and it's wild. You want to see costumes? Fantasy Fest is the place to go. I remember we just happened to be down there one year. They were doing Fantasy Fest, and my dad had booked us a vacation down there for like 2 weeks,
Okay.
not knowing that Fantasy Fest was
Oh,
going
whoa.
on, right? And I remember walking along with my dad and my mom and my brother and sister, and I was probably like 7 or 8.
Yeah.
And I kept trying to get these purple balloons that they had. I was like, I want those balloons. And he's like, you don't want those. Come on. You don't want them.
Those aren't balloons.
Yeah. Those aren't purple balloons.
Those are great nuts.
Yeah, Fantasy Fest is a blast down in Key West. Another thing I think that's exclusive to Florida, as we're here on Floridiots discussing Florida festivals and Florida fun that is exclusive to Florida, hurricane parties.
Yeah.
That's another one that not many other
That's
states
the main one.
get.
I think that's a good one.
But that's one that's large gathering, maskless, throwing all caution to the wind.
Most definitely.
Now, in Louisiana, I don't know what the hurricane party situation is in Louisiana. My friend just bought a house. Get this. My friend LB, who's like the most beautiful human being on the planet, just bought a house in New Orleans.
Yeah.
And there's a Category 5 that's about to hit tomorrow.
Does this house? Is it a houseboat?
I don't know. I'm hoping it won't be when she gets back. She's traveling around the country right now trying to find a place.
Oh man.
She's in like some ghost town in Texarkana right now.
Oh,
like,
man.
Yeah, just can't. Can you imagine? Like you come home and your house is underwater, but she's put good karma out there. So I think that she's, there's no way that she buys a house and 2 weeks later
it's
underwater.
Takes it out.
Yeah.
Well, first Florida man story I'm going to hit you up with this
Yo,
week. I
please
found it
do.
funny. Speaking of hurricane
You're going to
parties.
contribute to the show? Wow.
Yeah.
It's a first.
I know, really? Speaking of hurricane parties, a Florida man protects his car from Hurricane Dorian by parking it in his kitchen of his apartment.
Yeah. Okay. Why not?
Yeah. And guess where he lives?
Did he have to take walls out?
I don't know, but guess
Where?
where he lives? Jacksonville.
Jacksonville, Florida. America's butthole.
Oh, but guess what kind of car it was, too?
A Ford Festiva.
A smart car.
Yeah, you can get those in your house.
I guess you can. Yeah. And the lady of the husband said, my husband was afraid his car might blow away.
What part of it? There's boobs on your phone.
No, that's under a different thing.
What's going on with the boob story?
I don't know. That's like a 70s picture of some lady from the 70s.
Oh, it's a clickbait.
Yeah.
Would have got me on that one. Sorry.
Children.
Parking your car in the garage.
That's
Not a great idea.
if it's a smart car and they are light. Like I could see where you'd be a little bit worried. Like someone could definitely. It wouldn't take much to mess that car up. So.
Can I circle back because I'm thinking of these off the top of my head about some of the we got Fest coming up here in Gainesville, which is a huge gathering exclusive to Florida.
Yep.
It's become a tradition. I think they're 21 years into it.
21.
Another one, college football.
Yeah.
Florida State and Florida, you got 92 to 100,000 people showing up. Miami,
yeah.
they only show up if they're good.
Yeah.
But at Florida State, they're showing up. And, of course, because of this mask ban, they are not going to require negative tests, vaccines, or masks at the Swamp for Florida Gator football games.
What?
You're just going to get to show up, 90,000 people, completely reckless.
Wow.
I'm hoping that people are smart enough to be responsible.
I thought there was a thing, but there was there was none of the partying beforehand. Like they're not allowing them to.
No, we're wide open. 100% wide open. There's
wow.
tailgating. There's everything.
Okay.
Now we're going to date the show here for a second because obviously if you're watching this 2 years from now, both of us are dead. Yes. No, I'm just kidding. But I
got my booster, hopefully.
This will be exclusive to this. I'm going to date the show a little bit. But on Friday, the 27th, August 27th, some parents in South Florida sued over the mask ban and saying that the mask ban is unconstitutional.
Oh, wow.
So the Supreme Court ruled in favor of it. I'm sure that'll get kicked to the higher courts, district, and then eventually the actual Supreme Court. But Florida ruled in favor of that. So I'm wondering if that's going to affect these Gator games.
Yeah,
if they would reverse their policy.
I mean, I know of someone that I work with right now who's his ex and his daughter have COVID, and her new little baby have it.
Wow.
So, and he just lost his sister from COVID.
Yeah.
So this is 4 family members who've all been affected by COVID, and now it's children. So I don't know. I don't know where the moralistic question lies for people, but I hopefully you think about, you want to make sure that someone's always watching after your kid if they're in school, pretty much, keeping them safe. And I think in that line of sight, I don't think mask is a big question to ask, because are you more worried about your child getting shot and getting COVID? Like, what are your worries? Like, because what's going on right now, there hasn't been any school shootings.
Well, the argument is,
like, there's you got to protect the kids.
What these parents are saying is that the kids can't breathe. It's irritating their face. They're not able to communicate.
I can't breathe all day long.
You know, I know, but
I'm in 100-degree weather all day.
I get it, but they're saying they're children, and so for us, we're able to say, I'll wear a mask, I won't wear a mask, but a child, obviously, an adult has to be in charge of it.
I get you. Yeah,
I mean, I totally disagree with that. I think the kids should be wearing masks, or we should not be going to school.
Yeah, I mean, it is their right. I mean, that's how Florida sets it up. So, I mean, that right also protects everybody else, too, who want to wear masks.
I just wonder what kind of slippery slope. I mean, slippery slopes are a lazy argument, but I wonder kind of slippery slope situation we're getting into, because if we say there is no such thing as a social contract, there's no public civil agreement that we have to do healthy things, where does that stop? You know, we made the stoplight argument a few weeks ago. Is that where this all goes into? It's my right. I can do whatever I want.
You know, that's the other question. It's like, are those people thinking? Are they actually taking the time to step outside of their own personal shoes and step into other people's shoes, just to kind of see what it really is like? And maybe,
absolutely not.
No, they're not making.
Do not care about other people.
No. Yeah. That's why we're Floridians.
Follow us at the Floridiots podcast on all social media. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. It's right there. You actually have to work hard not to hit the subscribe button.
It takes 2 seconds.
Every time we see the views go up, but the subscribe button stays the same, Jason threatens to kill himself. And I just can't have that. I need him here. So please hit the subscribe button. We'll be back soon.